Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Mitch. Hope you guys are having a great start to your Monday morning. Monday is rough for a lot of folks, but I hope you guys are waking up and feeling positive this morning and having a great start to your work week. So we're going to give you a weather update of what's going to happen specifically for your Monday, April the 18th. So a lot of things are going to happen today. There's a big time low pressure that's going to crank up along the eastern U.S. and develop. And as it does, it's going to bring heavy rain, wind-driven rain, especially tonight, and some heavy wet snow for a lot of the Northeast, especially and mainly the interior areas of the Northeast and the higher elevations of like the western counties of Maryland, West Virginia, Virginia, here in the coming hours especially, and then getting into Pennsylvania, some of the higher hilly regions of Pennsylvania. So that's what we're going to break down. That's what we're going to talk about this morning. If you guys have not subscribed, definitely consider doing that. Like the video if you like it. Appreciate the ongoing support. As always, if you guys got anything I can pray about on this Monday morning, please put it in the comments below. It gives me an opportunity to pray over it. Gives others an opportunity to do so too. So let's get rocking and rolling this morning. Let's take a look at what's going on out there as far as a satellite view. You see all this bright colors. That is basically a lot of cloud cover over the southeast, getting soaked in heavy rain. Where I'm at in central South Carolina, we have picked up well over an inch of rain since midnight last night. So it is raining very heavily across areas of the Carolinas and still over portions of eastern Georgia. This will continue to move up into the northeast, mid-Atlantic and into the northeast. And as this low pressure begins to develop off the coast of the Carolinas, and it really won't stay over any kind of amount of ocean very long, as it really just plows right into maybe even Long Island, southern New England in general, overnight tonight into tomorrow. So it's not going to be one of those low pressures that develops and then stays off the coast and then kind of heads on out to the northern Atlantic. It's going to develop and then plow right into southern New England. So and then you're watching this system moving into the Pacific Northwest right now, which is going to bring a lot of rain and some mountain snows for places like Oregon and Washington State. This will move in the next couple hours. You're already getting cloud cover from that already, but you got a nice little ridge building over the southwest U.S. that's going to bring some above average temperatures. We'll be back today, so I'll talk about that a little bit towards the end of the video. So let's talk about the watches and warnings, what's going on right now. So you see these colors right here. You got freeze warnings up in these areas right here. I don't want to get these mixed up here, but really what you're focusing on up here is the winter storm warnings up here in the pink. I mean, it is definitely going to be an all-out snowstorm, a wet, heavy snow for these regions. And then you see these kind of purplish, almost bluish teal color. That is winter weather advisories extending all the way down into the higher elevations of West Virginia, even a county or two in Virginia, and then a couple counties in far western, the western kind of panhandle, if you will, of Maryland. Always forget what y'all call that region of Maryland, but please, I know I got a lot of viewers in the Maryland area. Please tell me what y'all call that geographical region. Somebody has told me before, but I've already forgot. I got a terrible memory that I got to get better with. But anyways, winter weather advisories in these colors right here, including areas of southern Vermont and then a couple counties in far northwest Massachusetts. So let's get rolling here and talk about what can happen today. Let's talk about the southeast first, and then we'll talk about the northeast. Heavy rain will continue through the morning hours in South Carolina, maybe a rumble of thunder. I haven't really seen any flashes of lightning or a rumble of thunder here in South Carolina. Just a lot of heavy rain. Heavy rain will continue from North Carolina. It'll be quite chilly too. And then for areas into Virginia, and then maybe some of those higher elevations of Virginia. I'm talking about the higher elevations, several thousand feet up in the air. 3,000 to 4,000 feet potentially. Could see a little bit of mixture of rain and snow, and then maybe an all-out burst of heavy snow. Like I said, in the higher elevations of West Virginia and Virginia, but this will be just a cold rain for Virginia for most of the morning and most of the afternoon. And then I think by the time we get into the evening hours, the afternoon and the evening hours, this will begin to clear out southeast Virginia, eastern Virginia, the Delmarva area, and then low pressure will begin to develop off the coast here. But even if this low pressure does get over the ocean waters, it's not going to be over it very long. It might just honestly just ride the coastline all the way up into areas of the northeast. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with that. But by the time we get to the evening hours, the southeast pretty much gets clear of rain. You got some northwestern flow with some rain showers and snow showers in the higher elevations. But other than that, clears out. But it's definitely a rainy start to your Monday morning, that's for sure. across a lot of the southeast, especially the eastern areas of the southeast. But we look up into the northeast. We'll start this at around late morning. You got moisture beginning to work its way into southern PA here. You got heavy rain and potentially heavy wet snow, burst of heavy wet snow in areas of northern Ohio. Watch out, Columbus, Ohio. Y'all might get a burst of heavy wet snow here in the coming hours. In fact, you look at the radar out of Indianapolis, for example, you guys saw a little bit of snow a little earlier this morning, snowing just east of Indianapolis now in east central areas of Indiana. And I wouldn't be surprised if y'all switched to maybe a burst of maybe some snow, from rain to snow in Dayton. Watch out. There's a report of some snow north of Columbus, Ohio. So I really think this area of Ohio right here, especially this eastern area right here, Akron, watch out, Cleveland, I think you guys could see a few bursts of snow today. How much accumulation? If you can get, an hour or two of just flat, heavy, wet snow, I don't see why you couldn't get an inch or two of snow. It doesn't matter what time of the year it is, unless it's like July or August, obviously. If it's snowing heavy enough, in a lot of situations like this, it can. If it's snowing heavily enough, it can stick on the roads. It can stick obviously on the trees easily and on the grassy surfaces. And, it's probably not going to stay. It's going to melt pretty quickly, probably, most likely. But initially, it's going to stick on everything. Maybe not right off the dot, but if you get a heavier enough burst of snow that really coats everything, it really sets the stage for maybe some 1 to 2 hours of rapid accumulation. But you keep this going here, it's really looking like Pittsburgh's going to stay mainly rain. Where these models were really aggressive all the way to Pittsburgh, maybe in the last 24 to 48 hours. It's more so looking like rain now, but you guys could see a burst of snow. You really could. But you see how spotty this is? It just has the snow in these regions, but a rain surrounding these areas. That tells you that the heavier the precipitation rates, the higher the chance, even outside the mountains, that you guys see a burst of snow. When you get the heavier precipitation rates, it helps to collapse the column, cools down the atmosphere above our heads temporarily, allowing for cold air and basically a dynamic to occur where you can have a brief burst of heavy snow, but as soon as the precipitation lightens up, it turns back to maybe a cold rain. But certain areas, that's not going to matter. You're just going to stay snow. But you're looking at this. We're starting to get into later this evening, heavy rain for the Delmarva area, New Jersey, Maryland. You guys are going to get some wind-driven rain this afternoon and this evening for sure. Moving, it's going to be later in the day before it moves in, but when it does, you're going to know it. It's going to be a sloppy drive home and just a rainy evening. It's definitely a soggy Monday night, that's for sure. So I wouldn't plan on going out tonight or anything like that. In New York City, it moves in really as early as 10, 11 p.m., and it's just going to be a wind-driven rain on Long Island. But, you don't have to drive too far for this to be snow. Watch out, Scranton. You guys are going to be right on the line of maybe a mix of heavy rain and heavy snow. You could go back and forth for a couple hours overnight, but you keep this going, and this really switches to some heavy wet snow and in the central New York state. And then the low pressure begins to move inland, and this is a wind-driven heavy rain overnight into the wee hours of the morning in southern New England. And but just in the higher elevations, for example, in far western Mass, where you got some higher elevations, you could be just sit at all snow for a few hours and get some rapid accumulation. And the precipitation might not last very long due to a dry slot that will come in and sit with the associated low pressure as it tracks north. But you guys could pick up several inches of snow in Vermont and New Hampshire very quickly before low pressure moves in and probably rapidly melts it as you're getting into tomorrow morning. But on the backside, where you have cold air wrapping on all sides of this low pressure to the north and to the northeast and east and to the the northeast and east and then the northwest and west, you guys, it's a weird system. You could definitely there's going to be warm air associated with the immediate low pressure, but on all sides of it, on the northern boundaries of this, you're going to have cold enough for snow. So it's going to keep snowing. It's going to be a long duration event for areas of central New York State. It really is. And then areas of Maine are going to get hit hard too. But, you got to go into the northern half of Maine in general to really see the heaviest snow. The down east region is definitely just going to see a whole lot of rain, that's for sure. But, you take a look at how much snow off the HRRR model. These are overdone. You can probably cut these in half at least. Now, certain areas of the higher elevations are going to see several inches of snow. But Pittsburgh, it's highlighting the risk of maybe a burst of snow. Watch out, Erie, Pennsylvania, maybe a couple inches of snow. But this is an area right here I'm watching in northeastern PA. Somebody in here could maybe slide in 6 to 10 inches of snow, and it's just going to be interesting to see. I'm fascinated to see what's going to happen with this part of the storm right here. We know higher elevations of Vermont and New Hampshire are going to get theirs. The valley areas are probably going to get robbed with just the warmer temperatures, as far as, especially with this low pressure scooting right through here up the valley of New York State. But what I'm really interested here is this area of New York State right here that could get over a foot of snow in certain areas. But really what I would pay attention to is the National Weather Service forecast. That is the best thing to look at in this region. I feel like it does a great job highlighting the lower elevations and the higher elevations, but still, central New York State, certain areas could get 8 to 12 inches of snow, that's for sure. And even the hills down here in PA, the higher elevations right here in the most western counties of Maryland, somebody could maybe slide in half a foot of snow, and then maybe a few inches of snow here in the higher elevations of West Virginia and Virginia down here. But watch out this area right here near Scranton. I'm really watching this. Could you guys get a heavier burst of heavier snow for several hours to maybe y'all get more snow? But it'll be an interesting setup. It really is, with the way the low pressure is just plowing right into the shoreline. I really anticipate some winds to really kick up later this afternoon. In fact, by the time you're getting into 5, 6, 7 p.m. Eastern time, you already notice the winds are starting to get gusty in Pennsylvania, New Jersey, New York State, the entire southern New England region, and especially watch out Delaware. Coastal regions of, even southeast VA. You guys are going to have some gusty winds, 20, 30 mile per hour winds. And then as you're getting into the overnight hours, the winds are going to be howling on Cape Cod and southern New England, 30 to 40, maybe as much as 50 mile per hour wind gusts, also possible on Long Island. So this is just a classic nor'easter, nothing we're not used to up in this region. But you notice these higher elevations could get some higher wind gusts. But we'll see how much this verifies. But I think Cape Cod is probably going to get rocked with some strong winds, especially overnight into tomorrow morning. But as far as temperatures, a cool day, right? It's going to be kind of an evaporative cooling type day where you got rain-cooled air, rain and snow-cooled air in these areas. So only in the 40s and 30s in the Ohio Valley, the Great Lakes region, in the 30s. But look, before the system moves in, it's going to climb into the 40s and 50s, where in areas that could potentially see a foot of snow. So you don't have a lot of cold air to work with. You don't ever have a lot of cold air to work with when you get into these systems in April. But the only place in the South where it looks to stay pretty warm is Florida, and then Texas and Oklahoma. But everybody else in the Mid-South, the Carolinas, is going to be kind of like a boundary state where the coastal and southern regions are warmer, as some cold air damming kind of works in with the associated low pressure developing. But 60s and 50s for highs in the South and the Mid-South and places like that. So you go on and switch it out west. System begins to move into the Washington State and Oregon area, and this could produce a lot of rain, especially as we're getting to the afternoon and evening hours, and then maybe some higher elevation snow. But this could produce a lot of rain today. But you guys need it, especially in Northern California. Y'all definitely need the rain. Anywhere in California needs the rain. But as far as temperature, a little bit of a ridge is starting to build over the southwestern areas of the western U.S. So you guys are closing in on 100 degrees in the desert here in Phoenix and areas of California and Nevada. And then beautiful weather expected, especially from, California points, west and south. East and south. The valleys rising into the 70s. Just nice weather outside the higher terrain where, of course, you have microclimates and it's just cooler temperatures. But a nice day out west, unless you're in kind of Oregon, Northern California, and then Washington State. So you guys are still locked into some chilly temperatures in North Dakota in the 30s and 20s, where you just still have snow on the ground up there. Once y'all get rid of that snowpack, I think you guys will have a little bit of a better time warming up there. But God bless everybody. Hope you guys have a fantastic Monday, and I'll talk to y'all this evening.